Week 12 had some crazy games. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more crazy games in Week 13, and especially, too, this Thursday night football matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. One of the biggest games of the week, one of the biggest games of the season so far. Major implications when it comes to the playoff standings coming in this game. Both teams are looking like they're going to be in the wild card spot here. They're Seahawks lose to the 49ers on Thanksgiving, now even farther back in the division standings. Cowboys are 2 games back from Philly, and they don't have the tiebreaker right now for that division. So looking like they'll be the 5 seed again. Seahawks are battling right now with the Vikings. I believe for the 6th spot. Seahawks are currently 7th right now, while the Vikings are 6th. But the Vikings are playing tonight when this video comes out on Monday. So major playoff implications here. Ryan, I want to throw it over to you here first. What was your overall thoughts on both these teams on Thanksgiving and how they played? They had different experiences overall.
Yeah. The Cowboys game, well, I will say both games were uninteresting. Just each team was on different sides of the coin. The Cowboys came out and absolutely dominated the Commanders. Deron Bland got his 5th pick 6 of the season, which is insane to do in 11 games.
12.
So,
well, I guess 11.
Yeah, 11 because they had a bye week. So like that's insane. This Cowboys defense is really good. They're one of the top, I believe, passing defenses in the NFL, only giving up 1,839 yards per game. Or sorry, not yards per game, yards this season, which is not a lot. That's not, I don't even think 200 yards a game.
Yeah.
So, whereas like on the flip side, the Seahawks, they've given up 2,538. So that's almost 700 more yards through the air. And the big thing for me against the 49ers that really showed that the Seahawks are not quite the defense that we were hoping that they would be is the run game. I believe when we go to the stats, the 49ers ran the ball all over the Seahawks. And granted, they have the best, if not one of the best offensive lines in the league, especially with Trent Williams back. Let me go into the box score real fast. So total rushing 33 for 169 and 3 touchdowns is what the 49ers ran for against the Seahawks. So that to me, they're just weak in the trenches. And that's something I think Dallas is definitely going to be able to exploit. Dallas has a pretty good offensive line. And then also I think the receiving weapons for Dallas are really starting to come along. CeeDee Lamb has asserted himself in the top 10 conversation with wide receivers in the NFL. And then Brandon Cooks, we had talked a little bit about it, but he's been on 5 different teams in the NFL, and he's had at least 1,000-yard receiving season with all of them. And so he's been doing really, really well. And this Dallas offense is, I don't want to say taking shape, but their playmakers are making really big plays, because I still think that there's plays left on the table by this Cowboys offense, which is kind of scary to say considering they're one of the most productive in the league.
Yeah, and I think, too, it's that more West Coast style offense. CeeDee Lamb has a heavy part of it for sure. But then adding Brandon Cooks just adds that kind of – it solidifies that receiver 2 role that we started to see that. And unfortunately, though, because of his ACL tear, I think because of his ACL tear, that Michael Gallup just hadn't returned back to that form that he was before that. So great addition on his part. I think they're getting good, consistent play out of their tight ends. The biggest thing for me when it comes to this matchup and where I think the Seahawks are going to struggle, and actually too, I feel like I know defensively they've given up 2,500 passing yards so far on the season. I feel like actually they're pretty decent in the passing game, and the Cowboys are decent in the run game, which is fortunate for the Seahawks because they're not too great in the run game overall. But where I think actually where this is the Seahawks going to have to figure out how to battle is how their offensive line is going to protect Geno Smith. And open up some running lanes for whether it be Charbonnet or if Kenneth Walker comes back. Both those running backs, to me now, are kind of interchangeable. I don't feel like Kenneth Walker didn't play in the last game. And I don't think he would have – it would not have made a difference at all, personally. But I think that it's just going to be a heavy dose of Micah Parsons blitz that Dan Quinn's going to send in. And this interior of the offensive line for Seattle really needs to improve in the offseason. And now I'm just curious how they're going to be able to kind of manage this defensive front from down, just the defense as a whole. I think it's going to be tough for Geno Smith and that offensive line to manage.
Yeah. Well, this Dallas pass rush is one of the best in the league, headed up by Micah Parsons, who, in my opinion, like if we're talking pound for pound, is one of the best football players in the NFL. Just what he's able to do is absolutely insane. Going from middle linebacker to edge rusher and being playing at an all-pro level at both positions is something we rarely ever see.
Yeah.
So
what was that interview? I don't know. I forget who it was, Al Michaels, but they asked him like, which position do you think you couldn't play? And a reporter who was asked him like on the defensive side of it, and Micah Parsons said, I think quarterback would be tough. Like his mindset just went to like overall, like which position do you think like he couldn't play? Like, and honestly, I mean, he'd be a small offensive lineman, but you put him in running back, receiver. Like I think at tight end, he'd be just insane. He is just super athletic.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that is just he has the football IQ, and like you really could probably plug and play him anywhere, and he would be successful. So let's go ahead and get into our predictions here really quick, though. But before we do that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I are trying to get to 2,300 subscribers by the end of the year. Actually, 2,333. That would mean we got 2,000 subscribers in a calendar year. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be very much appreciated. Mm-hmm. And Tyler, I'm going to throw it over to you. Who do you have coming out ahead in this matchup?
Dallas. So I mean, I know Washington. I wasn't the biggest, especially defensively. Like not going to put up much of a threat. I think Seattle might be able to definitely put up more of a threat defensively, but not nearly as much. I think as people anticipate. And also too offensively, I don't think that Geno Smith, they're regressing just a little bit. I think maybe coming back to the mean compared to last year. And a lot of that, it doesn't have to do with Geno Smith. I think it is more this offensive line and the interior. And that's where I don't think they're able to have a balanced running game or just a balanced offense because they're not going to be able to run the ball effectively because of just the weaknesses of the interior offensive line. And also, too, a guy to watch out to. I know they mentioned him a lot. It was kind of a neat story, but Jason Peters did play for a little bit on Thanksgiving, but then he came out because he was hurt. Stone for sight came in at right tackle. They've been going back and forth a little bit throughout the season. So that's something to monitor on the right tackle side. Because Charles Cross, in my opinion, on the left tackle has been doing well. I mean, as well as it could be. It's everything else kind of on the interior side. I just think in general, I think the Seahawks are going to have a tough time going down the field and scoring. While Dallas, I feel, will be able to go down the field kind of whenever they want.
Yeah, that for me is
not whenever they want. I think they have more ways to go down the field. There's a lot more possibilities. So I think Rick Willen will make it tough to pass the ball through the air, but still there's a lot more weapons. There's the Cowboys offense has been clicking. As of late.
Yeah, and that for me, I look at this Cowboys offense, and I think they're going to pose a very unique threat because they're pretty balanced, and that's really hard to defend when you're both good at running and passing. And I know that's kind of cliche, but you have a lot of teams that are really good at one or the other, and then teams can use that against them. And when you keep defenses balanced and honest, that's when you really start to see the wider gaps open up in zone coverage, wider holes open up in the run game. So I for that reason, I'm going to go with Dallas. Also, Dallas is 5-0 at home this season, and it is one of the tougher stadiums to go in and play at. I agree. So we're both taking the Cowboys here. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and help Tyler and I reach that goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. And go ahead and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this matchup. Is it going to be the Seattle Seahawks? Is it going to be the Dallas Cowboys? And on that, we will see you guys next time.